off on a walk today and I'm going to have a look to see if I can find some evidence of erosion and weathering. Let's go.
So here is perhaps our first example of erosion happening on this gravel path coming down the hill. Now this is water erosion, which has been caused by recent rains, and when the rains have come down this pathway, they've washed away a lot of the gravel. The drain on the side is where most of the water should have gone, but water takes its own path. It goes the easiest way it can possibly go, and you have to ask yourself, if this roadway wasn't here and it would be just grass and land like that, and obviously the vegetation does a big job in protecting the ground from erosion. And as you can see, that path travels all the way down the hill, and if we have a look down the bottom, you'll see it's even worse and goes right across the path. Makes it really hard to ride your bike up. There's an example of how deep the erosion can go when water runs down.
So now down the bottom of the hill, a lot of the gravel that's been washed down the hill has gone off into the side paths and into the drains. Notice it down there. Here comes the tractor. These drains probably do make it hard for tractors, things to go up and down, but humans made the path to start with, I guess. There's lots of areas like this where the gravel is all washed away into the grass, and we might know that as sediment. So this is where a lot of the finer silty bits have ended up down the bottom of the hill and create quite a problem here when tractors and cars and things have to go through this puddle. It just gets worse and worse, and the erosion problems continue. Whereas if we just take a look over here in amongst the grass where there's no track, yes, we still have a pile of water which just settles, but there's no issue with the ugly erosion that you see on that path. Now at the bottom of this hill, there's quite a large wall that's been built across this valley. And this is a bit of an interesting one, because this wall has been built, as far as I can tell, to stop large-scale erosion happening down this valley. What runs through this valley is a river, a creek. But as that river goes down, you could think if there was big rains and heavy floods, there'd be a lot of erosion downstream from this river as it goes into places like Rowville. This is on top of the wall. This is the other side of the embankment, and that would be like a spillway. I've never seen water up that high, but it's in case of disaster, I guess. So this is where the creek comes in. You go down these steps. Again, there's another grate to stop big logs and things clogging it up. But this is where the creek goes in and under that embankment, and then goes through this drainway underneath the big wall and out on the other side. All a big scale process to stop flooding happening downstream towards Rowville area. Hey, when you go for your walks, have a look around you and see if you can notice things that may have changed over time. This tree, for example, it's got a black stump. I'd say that got burnt in a fire, whether it was a natural occurrence, but mostly fires happen because of human intervention. The tree behind me, I think that's died off because of lack of water. A few years ago we had a hot summer, and I noticed that about a third of the trees up here had died off. So changes will happen naturally, and changes will happen because of human intervention. If you go back, there's ice ages and stone ages. So over long periods of time, our world has been changing and will keep continuing to change. But as humans, we need to be careful how much intervention we have in changing that world. And sometimes we don't get that quite right. Even rocks, which we might have thought have been there forever, they're changing too, and they grow grass and moss in different places, and bits break off, have big rains and things which cause them to weather. Animals change things too. These are the droppings of rabbits, and rabbits a few hundred years ago weren't even in Australia. A different way has been tried to stop the erosion of this path. A big angle has been cut out there, a big cutting, so that the water flows down that way instead, and you can see down there the sediment that has settled down the bottom of this area. Perfect example of sediment. Some of the bigger rocks on the top, and you can even see a roo print there where a kangaroo has gone through. Another way our environment changes is the vegetation. Here there's some weeds, cape weeds, and over here, after some burning off, a different type of weed has sprung up. Not quite sure what that one is, but you can see it's growing quite prolifically through that area there. There's some more scribbly bark patterns on this log, and even some more as they go up there. I wonder what made those changes. Some sort of animal, I reckon. Kangaroo has added a few of its changes to the environment as well. So just up and around this corner, see the wall of it there. Just coming up to it now. It's a dam, and after all the rain it's fairly full of water. You can hear a few frogs croaking, but this is an area which changes all the time, and I've seen leeches, frogs, tadpoles and even fish in this dam. Waterways are very dependent on rain, which is a weather thing. And if we're talking about weathering, I would think that the weathering of this rock has been slowed down, or at least changed, by the mosses and things which are growing on it. Maybe they're slowing the weathering and erosion of that rock down, or maybe they're making it even faster. I don't know. What do you think? Trees, of course, as they get old and fall down and die, they start to weather away, start to rot, and can be very artistic in their weathering process as well, giving some lovely textures, colours, patterns for us to enjoy the whole changing and weathering process. Human or natural changes? What do you think? Fires are another thing that bring changes to the air, to the vegetation that they burn up. So if every rock's got a story to tell of where it came from and how it came out of the earth and how it was made, every tree has got a story to tell as well. Where it came from, it was once a little seed. Now it's grown into a big, huge tree, and now it's dying off, of course, and I wonder if it could tell us how many animals have gone past it, how many animals have lived in its branches, in its trunk. So when you're out for your walks, have a look out and see what you can see around you about changes in our environment. Nothing stays the same for very long in our world, and everything's changing over time, but that's what makes it so interesting and exciting to be part of this world. I hope you enjoy it as much as I do and take some responsibility for some of those changes that we can make for the positive. Good on you, Karoo.